still love it. I love it.
I should have gave the turkeys cigars.
That's what, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. What in the world?
Oh yeah, I love all kinds.
That's good. That's good 80s fonts right there. Nice, round. Yeah. Well, we got one. Probably Kevin outside. God bless him.
Well, I hit the live. I told everybody on that Discord live, and some of them will tune in.
I guess,
Hail to the no.
I guess I should have told you guys that you know the mics are live through that
no.
whole thing.
It's okay. I don't care.
I'm working on it.
Oh, okay. All right.
And he runs the sound.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to Smoking Underground. I am Devin.
Ding.
This is Gary.
Hello.
And John.
Yeah,
Too
so my
bad,
camera's
John.
not functioning tonight. It wants to come up on stupid software. So
Yep.
you can't see this beauty.
Or his face broke the camera. One of the two. I mean, we'll go with whatever he wants.
There is no
Well,
camera.
some cameras just can't take this beauty.
That's true.
Just too
You know,
bright.
they
True.
just shatter.
That's
Just
true.
too bright. My God.
That's right.
I was going to take a picture, but I forget it now. No.
No, I need to
I'm not
use my
gonna
camera
risk
for
that.
stuff.
Not going to risk that.
So today we are going to be talking about WKRP episode that is posted on Smoking Underground. And we are going to be smoking our sticks of choice for our particular characters. Now, before we get into that, I'm just going to go ahead and announce my libation is the Crown Royal Fine Deluxe. And the reason I chose that is I felt like not only my character, but those people of the time on the show would think this is high class because it's named Crown Royal, where it is not.
At that time, it would have.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And it's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll pair with everything because it's got hints of nothingness. 'cause it's Crown
Alcohols
Royal.
go through their end. You know, back when I was in high school, decades ago, back when Devin was just a wee lad,
Even
you
if
know,
he was a
Absolute
lad.
was like a big vodka. Now that's
Right.
like the trash vodka, and Tito's, which was the trash vodka, is like the
Yeah.
big
Oh,
vodka.
yeah.
I was drinking Tito's on
man.
Friday,
Yeah.
Tuesday night.
Oh,
Give it to those
geez.
marketers.
I know.
Man, yeah.
It's just a cyclical cycle,
God.
a cyclical sickle.
Yeah, I think when I was in there, I don't even think they named the liquor. It was whiskey, vodka, tequila. That was all. You
Well,
you didn't care.
Do you want to know what's
You
like
know.
probably elevated itself to a whole new level? Is
Other
that purple
smokes.
passion stuff that came in the 2-liter bottles?
Oh wow.
Really?
You know, you
Wow.
can't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. If $2 Chuck was around back then, it would make a big deal today.
Yeah.
Well, $2 was a lot of money back
That's
then.
exactly right.
Booze
You
Farm.
doggone skip it.
I mean,
was.
$5 would get me gas, a Hershey bar, and a Diet
Oh,
Pepsi for
heavens.
Friday night.
Yeah, man. Oh
Fill up
yeah.
your
Maybe a
tank
couple
up there.
balloons.
Close. About a half tank. Yeah. I
Wow.
remember looking for $1.29 a gallon, going, "Oh, come on, man! Please give me $1.29 a gallon, please."
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's get right into it because this may take up a lot more time than we happen to think. I'm not sure if we should save the best for last, being John, because he absolutely loves the show,
I think we should.
or he goes first.
Oh well, that could be an.
What do you want to do, John?
Well, I want to, before we jump into it too deep,
Yeah.
and talk about the cigars.
All right.
Gary and I were familiar with the show.
Okay.
What is your overall, with watching one episode?
Right,
what's your
right,
what's your
right.
overall review of it?
So I'd have to say, like, if it was right off the cuff, I had no idea what this show was, and I just flipped on the TV and watched it, I wouldn't continue watching it. But knowing the history behind it and the things that you've told me, I would have to say, like, it's a little bit overacted. The quality of the show was mind-numbing on my eyeballs, and the comedy was slight. Like, there was some there, and there was also some that obviously wasn't funny, but there was some that was. That's why I thought of you, John. I don't get it yet. I'm going to get it at some point.
I like your
But-
overacting though. I like
Yeah.
that because
There
now
was definitely a few bits of
I come back to that and it's like, yeah, that's
because
that's cool.
what's the main manager's name again?
Arthur Carlson.
Yeah, Carlson.
Yeah.
Big,
Like he was actually a decent actor in that.
He is.
Yeah,
He's top notch, man.
Whereas some of them
they're
were
the
just-
Maytag commercials he used to do.
right. Tim Reed was a good actor in that,
True.
Yeah.
True.
and you can tell because he went on to do a lot more things after that. But
Venus.
I think the rest of them were just kind of.
Howard Hessman did end up with a career, you realize.
Oh, I didn't look up any of them. To be honest, with you. I
He
only
did
know,
not. Is that right?
No, Howard Hessman did.
He did.
Oh, Dr. Johnny Fever. He ended up going on doing the head of the class. He did multiple movies.
Oh, good.
Oh, I was
I
thinking.
only know
I was
Tim
thinking
Reed
of.
from,
I was thinking of the sports. The newscaster. That's what I was thinking.
Les Nessman, he didn't go on to do anything. Herb Tarlick went on to do a couple of things. You know, they all went on to kind of a few things. It's kind of, they probably made reasonable money on the show. You know.
I wouldn't see me watching the show, to be honest with you. My only fascination with it is because you like it so much, and I respect you so much that I'm like, I've got to keep watching this show. I've got to. It's a challenge now. I got to find out why.
Devin's got
John
man love
likes
for
this.
John.
No.
We have initiated that and put that on record.
Oh my god!
You know, I'm gonna point out. I thank you for that respect to me because that piece of crap you made me watch last month.
That was a horror movie, but it was actually a classic movie,
Oh my goodness!
and it was very good.
I got to say, I enjoyed both.
So, Devin, you
enjoy
can control the show. Call somebody or lead into it however you want.
So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking best for last because John's going to love our analysis.
Right.
And he's going to enjoy it better,
Sure.
having not given any of his opinion till the end.
Right.
I think he's going to enjoy it better this way.
Yeah.
How are the
So-
listeners going to enjoy it?
I think they're going to enjoy it because you're practically the expert on the show. Now, you want to go first? You want
I
me to go?
know. However you like.
Okay.
I will be glad to if you want, or you can.
Well, so I'll go first. I just want to get it out of the way because I want to
Got
start
it.
smoking.
Yeah.
Now, you probably thought I was going to pick Tim Reed's character, the guy on there.
Yeah, because when you said dance and everything, I was like, okay, all right, yeah, it's got to be.
I chose Herb.
Herb Tarlick.
Yeah. And the reason I chose him is in
Yeah.
that episode, one thing, he's wearing some god awful clothes, but like, when
Welcome to
he's-
the
he's
set.
Did you
talking-
have a matching white belt at home?
Oh yeah, right.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
You had two of them, don't you?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when he's talking to Carlson and he's like, yeah, boss. Like he's such a brown noser, suck up.
Yeah.
But he's got this weird look about him because he's kind of square looking.
Yeah.
So I'm walking in the humidor going to pick my cigar, and I'm going like, yeah,
Mhm.
man. Yeah, boss. Yeah. Oh, that looks like a good cigar. Yeah, it's a big one. Oh, and a flathead. That's like a car. I gotta pick that. Yeah, boss. That's what I thought of. That's exactly what I thought. I could see him
That's
thinking
pretty good.
this was
Not bad at all.
this was the best thing. This is $100 cigar. This is what he thought it would be. But he's not buying it. Somebody else will be buying it for him.
Right.
And he goes, man, it's $100 cigar. And the person buying it for him goes, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we just let him have it.
Yeah.
Just let him have that fantasy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this
Let
is
him
what I
play it
think
up.
he would smoke. I love that scene between when him and Les Nessman basically, we've been here longer than the rest of you, you know, and he kind of goes into it like that. I thought that was pretty clever. And because the amount of time that they had, it was basically, I think it was 24 minutes, but really there was only about 21 minutes a show. They did a lot in that 21 minutes. They set up the story with the whole, man, Carlson is getting on our nerves. Like they showed you how he's getting on his nerves. Then their complaints about him getting on your nerves, and then them doubling down on that. And they accomplished a lot in a very short amount of time that I was actually really surprised over, because most shows don't accomplish that much anymore.
We talk
Right.
about that in my new comedy writing class that I'm doing,
Yeah.
and how that the progression goes. And it to me, it's a little bit different back in those 70 shows to what it became in the 90s. and
Oh,
what we
without
have
I can
now.
see that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, night and day, probably.
And I was listening to another
Yeah.
podcast today. It's Improv for the Podcaster, and it's a guy, improvisational instructor, and he interviews various other podcasters who also have taken improv classes or are involved. And the other woman is also an improv instructor. And she said, I went to, I hate it when I go to a comedy show and my friend goes, we walk out and goes, that was a great show. That was funny. And she's sitting there going, no, it isn't. It was horrible because of this and this and this. She micro analyzes it. And be honest, that stuff pisses me off. I don't believe, there's a way to teach things, but if it's funny to somebody, it's funny.
It's funny.
I don't
Right.
give a damn if it followed the pattern.
Right.
If you take a picture and it looks good, I don't care if it follows the rule of thirds. There are basic rules, but if you go in and you see Sam Kinison and everybody laughs, but he just doesn't happen to do it and setting up the joke and then follows it with three things and then comes back.
Right.
So what?
So what?
People laughed.
Yeah.
So that's just a little tirade that's really been on me.
No, I completely agree.
But it's really going back to comedy was different then. Comedy's changed now.
Sure.
Very laugh tracky show. So
right.
Yeah.
It made me think about like the difference between WKRP and Cheers and the setup. Like it's completely different. Theirs is like
Totally.
like legacy long form storytelling with micro comedy throughout the thing, or tropes, constant tropes that rebuild on itself. Whereas the one episode, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the one episode that I watched on this seemed like these guys were trying to be funny in the moment and not be tropey.
Well, what follows, and it's something that annoys me about modern TV. I don't mean to make this an analysis.
I am
of
loving
TV.
this. I'm loving this.
This
is
you
great.
could watch a show in the 70s and even into the 80s. And I don't care if you watched episode 1, episode 12, season 3, episode 6. You could sit down, watch the damn show, and laugh and enjoy it. You didn't have to watch every show before it to know every storyline.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And WKRP is that way. You can watch an episode, and then you dropped right in. You're analyzing the characters reasonably correct.
Yeah.
And you kind of knew what's going on. The big guy, Brown Noser. We've talked about some of the other characters briefly. But Cheers, if you didn't watch it from really episode 1 or 2.
Yeah, they'd make inside jokes that you wouldn't pick up on.
Yeah, you can't you don't understand that Coach is always going to be this, I don't want to say idiot, because Coach was a fabulous actor,
Right.
Played, Ernie Pantuzzo very, very well. But you've got to watch to know the whole storyline. And, when Sam starts, chasing Rebecca, you had to know the Diane storyline to go with that.
Right, to see
And
gravitas.
if you go to Frasier, you got to know the Frasier story, the Cheers storyline to understand Frasier.
Well, so that would be my counterpoint on that is that you don't have to, because they did so well with Frasier and they slowly introduced it. Because I had never watched Cheers and I got into Frasier, watched all of Frasier multiple times. I probably watch it once a year, all 11 seasons.
Oh,
because I love it. And then I went back to try to watch Cheers and did not like it. I mean, I can't say I didn't like it because I watched like 4 seasons in a row, but I really just enjoyed the scenes and episodes with Frasier in it. Because the rest of it was kind of boring.
But when you're watching Frasier and they made the references to his ex-wife, to Diane,
right,
or when they talked about Lilith, I think it compounds the humor in Frasier if you knew Lilith and Diane from Cheers.
That's when I had to go and do research and figure it out.
Yeah, and that's what I enjoy. I enjoy the birth of it as it comes up because you see the evolution of it. Once you see the evolution of it, you've got a total huge anchor in every mark there is, including the spinoff of it, which makes it even brighter.
Right.
So now you've got this small evolution that's just hilarious, and now you've got the spinoff that's just priceless.
I mean,
and now you've got all of that,
And so that's one thing I enjoyed about WKRP was, like, for some reason when he's standing outside talking about, I can hear the helicopter. I expected to see something like you see in MASH, like a full-on helicopter, and them dropping something. And then when they didn't do it and it was all verbal, it really made me think of radio because they were
Right.
able to set a scene larger than it was.
It was all dialogue.
And it was all dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I was pleasantly surprised.
But you pictured the helicopter
Right.
and you pictured the
Exactly.
turkeys and you pictured
That's what you enjoy.
Right.
That's what you like.
There doesn't appear to be parachutes.
it's
Yeah.
skydivers from 2,000 feet.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So I was impressed because it felt like when you look back, because I'm kind of a cinephile sometimes, not all the time. When you go back to like the 1930s movies and stuff like that, when they were doing like it was just all silent films, and how they wanted to portray like distance, they would use like tricks. Even Disney used to do it to make it look like it was far, but it was really close, or make something look like that, or something cartoon interacting with somebody real. They would use these really interesting tricks. This show kind of did the same thing, but it was all dialogue based, and it made me think of real radio. I mean, I was impressed.
That was the object. That was the object.
I need to back up though. Did you ever identify your cigar?
Oh, I said it was a flathead, but I didn't go into it. So it's a flathead V21.
V21, big boy.
Yeah,
Big
because I figured he'd look at it and he'd go, "Oh, American Muscle car, American Muscle, yeah, that must be expensive, you know." Oh, V21, yeah, you know, like
And so it's a CAO product also.
right, CAOs,
right.
yeah.
Right.
It's about you know, $14-15.
About the price of a cigar now.
Right.
It's a good cigar.
It's a what would you call it? A Cuban box press.
There you go.
So it's not bad. Like, and the taste of it is really solid. I mean, you'd expect that from a flathead.
Yeah.
But it's got a nice bite to it, a nice spice that I feel like I keep wanting to call him Herb, but Herb would think is classy.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that's my take on it.
Very
Yes.
good.
Jumps to you, Gary, because I was
Yay.
told I got to go last. Just
All right.
like in PE class in high school.
Yeah, it is,
I
isn't
get
it?
picked last.
Yeah, that's all right. At least we're not picking for a dodgeball. Let's get it.
Well, there's a game I miss.
You must have just filled your lighter up.
I accidentally filled it with the high performance.
Oh, you sure did, boy. That's some good stuff right there. Well, I'll show you mine, and I'll tell you mine, and you can just about guess who mine is.
So, Gary, real quick, for anybody tuning in, we're going through the episode of WKRP and what we think the characters would smoke.
The Turkey Drop episode.
The Turkey Drop episode. Do you know the exact number on that one?
It is season 1, I believe, episode 8 or episode 9. I
think
can't
it's
remember.
8. I think it's 8. So we're going through what we think a character that we select. Now, none of us told each other what we were selecting,
Right.
or the
right.
people who we were selecting,
Right.
to purposely keep it a secret.
Yeah.
So we're going over that right now. I just did mine, and now Gary's going to do his.
Yeah. So mine, of course, would be I went with the Cohiba Red Label, Churchill. And what this, of course, represents, in my opinion, I think in others' opinion, Cohiba is the landmark, the flagship of the top of the line cigars. And it was back then. And of course, it tries to be now. You know, now, of course, you got Davidoff and Fuente and Opus and all that kind of stuff that's come about. But still, Cohiba is sort of the mainstay of the top of the line, if you will. Representative of success, representative of being the boss.
The boss.
Therefore, my character is Carlson.
Carlson.
Mr. Carlson.
The manager.
Yes.
The station manager.
Yes. And one
Gordon
thing
Jump.
that
Gordon Jump.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Gordon Jump. That's
Gordon.
his real name.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. Good deal. Excellent. Yeah.
So what's your rationale between him choosing that one?
Because he's literally the boss of the radio station, and he likes good stuff, but yet he is naive in a sense of wanting. He seems to me like a very budgeting boss. So he seems very, not necessarily will not spend a whole lot on it, but would like nice, but not over the top.
I just had a thought, Gary.
I'm ready.
I have a feeling like he would look at the name Cohiba,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody would offer him a Davidoff that would be like way better and way more expensive, and he'd go, "No, it sounds like a flower. I don't want to smoke that."
Technically, a
That sounds about
Cohiba and a Davidoff are on even playing
They
fields.
are.
So
Yeah, I mean they are,
They
but
really
I think he would
Mhm.
cancel it off because he
Yeah.
would think the name would sound too fruitful.
Right. That sounds just like him too.
Yeah.
It really does. Yeah, but yeah, and that's the reason why I picked it. I looked at him and I said, okay, let me just try the boss mode and see what happens there. And I like his naiveness of trying to run the station and of course not knowing what's going on at the same time. I love that. That's awesome to me because that's the way I spend life.
Yeah.
I think he would do the Cohiba for an additional reason in that he would be that guy who's, even though I don't know how it existed in the 70s, he's that guy who would go to South Beach and the cigar lady would come up to him and explain that it's a Cuban cigar because of the number of dots and and fall for that very easy.
Right.
So he would be gullible enough, but he would, in the show, I think they would make it humorous and instead of making him look like an idiot that you're buying a fake Cuban.
Yeah.
Didn't you say somebody on the show actually does smoke a cigar?
No, we were talking about. I think we were talking about Die Hard, but
I think you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's and I could see him coming back in and opening up a box and showing it off, saying, "You see what I got? See what I got?
Yeah, see what I got?
Yeah. Listen to this. This girl, she told me all about it."
And he'd peel the band off, and it would say some cheap fro name, like not even the same one, to be a fake name under the band.
And it'd come unraveled, it'd come undone.
You'd see a scene of him taking masking tape and making sure it stays
That's
on
it.
for each one of them.
Yeah.
Because he's got a safe face.
Yep. That I can see. That I can.
Now, what's the line? I swear on God's life, I thought turkeys could fly.
Oh gosh!
But the whole episode was, about him wanting to step up and be important.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So, he wanted to get involved in the station because he felt he got pushed out. So,
and I thought he pushed that. Like the people who wrote that, they did a really good job of making his character like not just want to be the nosy boss, but like the actual boss who feels like he's being disconnected and wants to reconnect,
right?
So that he is truly the mastermind that he's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And they portrayed it in a very humanitarian way. Like I was very impressed because I expected, the typical trope of boss bullshit, and I didn't get that at all.
No,
but it's kind of humorous. Jennifer, I want to dictate a letter.
Right.
I don't do dictation. Well, I guess you're right. I can write that myself. Can you get us a couple of coffees? I don't get coffee.
We talked about this.
Yeah. And then at the end of the show, it was nice.
Because
they came back to the joke the way you're supposed to.
Right. They circled back. Yeah.
And Jennifer offered to get him a coffee.
Right.
And you don't do that.
Right. They showed compassion among the cast, or mostly the crew, or the actors, or the characters,
the staff of the station.
Right.
So
that is one thing that you do the best. Is that you take and you circle crap back around again, and it comes back, and you're just going, "Oh my God." It's like you light a fuse. Well, it's almost just like that. Right there. You're the best at that, dude.
Not to plug myself, but if you listen to my No Driving Gloves podcast, especially the first 150 of them or so, we always did that. We started with a topic, and we get so far off track. By the end of the show, we were summing up the episode with a conversation about the topic.
Right.
When I used to do interviews for role players, it's a skill you learn how to do is to keep them on track, the person you're talking to. That's got a really nice ash on it.
It does, doesn't it?
That's white.
Yeah,
nice and white. Yeah.
No, you got to learn to circle them back around because they'll start going off in different directions, and you come right back to it. Mm-hmm. And honestly, as an interviewer, and you understand this, you look at what was the first thing we were talking about. That's the easiest thing to come back to because then they go, "Oh yeah, we were talking about this," and they go right back to it. And as an audience listener, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. It is. It truly is.
And now we save the best for last because John, the expert, the master of WKRP. I always want to say WPK. I always want to say
no, WPIG is a competitor station.
That's right.
WKRP. It's WKRP. You'll find that out in an episode.
Okay. All right.
It's a retaliation against WPIG.
I'm genuinely so. Let me give you my speculation here.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what's your speculation?
Okay, so circling back around, what we're doing is we're taking the show WKRP. Now I can't unsee it. Like now I can't unsee it. Thank you. We're taking characters from the show and seeing what they would smoke and why they would smoke it from our opinions. I did Herb. You did the manager
Carlson.
And we're going to go with John. Now, my first, right off the bat, when I was watching the show, is I didn't know John was in this show. It's Les Lessman. I didn't know you were, there. Because he has kind of that same, like, just a look, not the same person, but he has the same.
My balding and always wearing a Band-Aid.
Right, exactly.
There's one of the themes of the show. I'll spoil it for you. Les always has a Band-Aid on.
I remember you mentioning that. So that was who I would think you would immediately pick, just because you may connect with his kind of dry humor. And then I went, but that's too on the nose for John. That's too that's who I would pick. So I went out of left field and said secretary.
What would be your guess?
Les Nessman.
See, I thought about Les Nessman. Les Nessman wouldn't smoke cigars.
You don't think so?
Not at all.
I would think he would probably do the minis.
No,
that would be it.
He wouldn't do them because of the health risks.
Right.
Because he's so in depth and into the news and that, and he's so believable he's so able to be manipulated.
So one of your characters just doesn't even smoke. Then
no,
is invalid completely.
Would I be correct in assuming that what Les Nessman should have done is he should get onto Amazon of his day and purchase the Monogram number 9 from smokingunderground.com from the link that we have.
Well, the problem with that is when you do watch the episode of WKRP, which is the radio station of the future,
right.
which is set in about 2010. And when you watched it, you go, wait a second.
Wait, that show is set to be 2010?
They have an episode where they talk about WKRP of the future, and it's set in about 2010. And the whole station's, everything's white. It's stark white, just like Apple. Everything is stark white, and everything is automated, except I think Jennifer's still working there, but nobody else works there. It's just a completely automated station, which when you watch that in 1977, 78, you go, this is never going to happen.
Right.
And now walk into any radio station today.
Yeah, and now it's totally automated.
They just they aren't white because that would probably be expensive to keep clean.
Yeah. Right.
That's a good point. All right, John, we're waiting. We're anticipating.
I'm going to repeat. I did Herb Tarley.
Oh.
Because he's a salesman.
Wow. Look at that.
And he's going to smoke cigars.
You just made Devin's day.
Yeah. And I don't see Herb quite the way Devin did. I mean, yes, Herb's a kiss ass.
But you also have a lot more experience with the character.
Yeah. Herb is a kiss ass, but he's a salesman, and he's always looking for an in to get into something.
Yeah.
Part of that episode, he complained about Mr. Carlson ruining a sale for him because he thought the company was selling drugs. And I thought it was, it's always funny. Dr. Johnny Fever pops up. What is this business? But because it's Herb, he would want to do something fabulous and over the top type, but he kind of like you said, he wouldn't want to pay for it. He's cheap.
Right.
But he's going to want something that reflects him.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I don't have a camera.
The suit.
I went with the Asylum Big Time Tommy. Because it literally says Big Time on it.
Right. And it looks like it's got a suit on.
Yeah, a little pinstripe.
So,
yeah.
And to be honest, I can't think of the Tommy this is named after. He's got he's from Jersey. He's got a car show.
There's a car you were telling me about. He would unband his stuff.
Yeah. And that's Tom. This is named after this Tommy guy who's on one of the networks with this car show and his car dealer. And he would smoke cigars all the time, but he would always take the bands off. And to me, that's exactly something Herb would do.
Yeah.
Until what's the guy's name from Asylum? I'm drawing a blank.
Asylum?
Yeah.
Tom Lazuka.
Tom Lazuka saw him on stage and approached him and said, "You're smoking Asylums." And he said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, why do you take the band off?" He goes, "Because you're not paying me."
Which is clever as hell. I love it.
And guess what? He's paid now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
so,
great assessment.
And they came up with 5 blends of tobacco. This is a story I got from hearing an interview with him on the Cigar Authority. And Tommy smoked them all. Not Tom Lazuka, Tommy. And this is the blend he chose. Now, I'm smoking the 660, but it originally was like a 770 or something. Wow. It was a bigger cigar, and that's what the guy smokes. Herb would be a 660. I can't quite see Herb being a 770 guy, but I think just because of the name of the cigar, because Big Time Tommy, it has to be a good cigar. It has to be a top of the line cigar, even though
because he's big time.
It's a $10 cigar.
Yeah. Well,
there you go. I honestly did not expect you to choose that at all.
I guess I could. Do you want my logic through the whole show?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Arthur Carlson would be a cigar smoker, period.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is. It's just not portrayed on the show, and he would have his own humidor, and it would be along your lines of good cigars that were gifted to him.
Right.
It would not be ones he bought.
Right.
Or it would be ones his mom wasn't introduced in the show, but it would be ones he would have gotten from his mom,
from his mother,
who's extremely wealthy and actually owns the station.
Right.
Dr. Johnny Fever, he probably smokes cigars too, but he kind of probably does it the way he would be more of a backwoods kind of guy, if you catch my drift.
Is Johnny Fever, was that the one with the glasses sitting back?
Yeah, it is in the
I thought that was such a weird scene because he goes in there and the guy's not moving a muscle, like he's asleep. And then the camera it like zooms in on him because he goes like opens his eyes. And they didn't do what I was expecting, like is and then put it back down and then fake he's asleep. No, the camera zoomed in and stayed on him so that you could see his eyes open through his glasses, which I thought was a very weird choice, but it worked.
Yeah, that's Dr. Johnny Fever. When you watch the drinking and driving episode, I won't spoil it for you, but Dr. Johnny Fever's Dr. Johnny Fever in there, and Venus Flytrap's the other guy. And a state cop comes in and they each take a drink and they keep going to prove how much slower your reaction time is the more you consume.
Oh, okay.
But no, like I said, Dr. Johnny Fever, he would be a backwoods guy, and he would do with backwoods what people do with backwoods.
And what would that be, John?
Well, we talked about it earlier when he was looking for that business that may or may not be involved in agricultural products. Venus wouldn't do it. I don't think he would be a cigar smoker. He'd be a cigarette smoker in the 70s because that would be the cool, smooth thing.
Right.
He would probably be a cool or a Newport smoker.
Right. See, I thought he'd be I thought
if he was doing a cigar, he'd be a Tatiana guy.
Yeah, see, it would be something flavored.
Yeah. Jennifer, she would be a very, very mild, light cigar smoker, but occasionally.
Petite Corona every so often.
Yeah.
Maybe a Lancero for something harder.
Possibly. Yeah. To just enjoy the night.
Yeah.
Andy, I don't know. If I wanted to go with Andy, he probably would smoke something just run of the mill. He might be a Romeo Julieta guy or Julieta. He might be, I could see him being really a Rocky Patel or a CLE guy. I mean, just a solid everyday smoke, even a Perdomo dude. He would be in those brands and he would be in about the $10 range, but he would be actually probably the ideal for one for him he would probably be an Edge smoker. He would be the guy that would come in and buy our 5-pack of Edge Corojos that we have specially priced because a little bit of a deal. And, it's just a steady, smooth cigar because that's the
Sure.
way he worked.
Right.
And then that leaves us Bailey Quarters. And Bailey, she would be.
I don't think she was in that episode.
She was, but I don't know if she had a line.
Okay.
She has as you come into the room has Les's desk and Herb's desk and that. She's got a desk back there by Herb.
Okay, yeah.
She would be, and I hope she doesn't get mad at me. I picture her a lot like Tammy, who's the manager of the 280 store. She would smoke a lot of stuff, different brands, always but she would definitely have her favorites. But I think she's an explorer, so she wouldn't stick to one cigar too often. She would always be smoking the new thing or something that somebody has recommended to her just to experiment.
Right. I can see that.
So there's my wrap of them all.
I love it. That's great. Thank you, John. Thank you. Great episode. Thanksgiving themed. We won't have a show next week.
Yeah, we're off next week.
Oh, that's right. Next week's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yay.
So I want to throw out, because we always do, and I should have said it in the message, Christmas next month. What do we want to watch?
That is a good question.
Oh, Lord.
Now, here's off the top of my head movie. But you were more than welcome to poo-poo it. But I went to Nashville to the Titans game on Sunday, by the way. It was great. We went to a pop-up bar that was based off of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So that was the movie I thought of immediately.
Oh, by all means, yeah.
But I'd love to find.
It's by default.
I'd actually love. I'm really liking your TV episode idea better than a movie, just because there's so much condensed in such a small portion. But I'm like, what would be an episode of something that's Christmas themed?
Yeah, everybody's got their Christmas.
I know
episode.
everybody's got one. Now, me personally, I am an Office kind of guy, so I'm going to always choose something from The Office because their Christmas episodes are hilarious. But you guys got to be on board for it. But I think it's Gary's turn to pick something. So,
ooh.
See, I'm kind of thinking it should, for Christmas, it needs to be a movie. Reason WKRP was good for what we did is when it comes to Thanksgiving, you've got WKRP or you got Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Right.
And I'm not a Steve Martin fan.
Right.
But I do like the K-Car convertible in that movie. But
I personally would love to pick a good, a campy Christmas,
The one that crossed my mind, because everybody needs to rewatch it, not to step on Gary, is A Christmas Story.
See, that's what I like. The only problem I have in that right there is there are more kids in this thing.
Right.
Than
It's
there
a
are
little
adults.
too kid. Now they are making another one.
Well, that's
right.
exactly why I think we need to watch it, because the new one, I believe, is coming out this Christmas.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And little Ralphie is now the adult.
Mm.
Do we know
There
when
we
that's
go.
coming out?
I don't know,
Because we could do a double feature.
John's going Google.
no, because you would have to go to the theater,
That's
etc.,
true.
to
That's
see.
That's true.
Because I'm a Christmas.
Yeah,
Vacation.
and that's the only thing I thought about,
Bug.
like, because I kind of see
I
your
love
point about
that.
that. Because
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, well Ralphie would smoke this. That's gonna get in some hot water. I don't know if that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
I love the idea of it, but I don't think that's gonna pass muster as far as like going through.
There's Christmas Story 2, 2012.
Mm.
Christmas Story Christmas 2022. Initial release today, November 17th.
Really?
Is it releasing in theaters or on any streaming platforms?
Distributed by Warner Brothers. I believe it is a theater movie.
Okay.
I don't believe it's coming out.
Yeah, I think honestly, I feel like that's a little problematic with all the kids because we'd only have to focus on the dad and the mom. mostly the entire
Oh,
time.
good, because then that takes Home Alone out of the equation.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. I mean, there's more adult featured in that movie, but it still does take them out there because you could make a case for Marv, the bandits and the mom and the dad and all that, but they're not the focus of the whole movie. So.
And then you look at Christmas Vacation, where two of the characters actually do smoke cigars.
Right.
So it almost we could probably place those together, I'm sure, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's we may have to think about that.
That's going to be there's a conundrum on that one.
Well, we'll talk about it.
Certainly.
We'll get a link up before the next show. So if you stay tuned to the Smoking Underground webpage, where we do have some Christmas suggestions in that for some items that are not necessarily available at a Cigars and More store.
Right.
You can go ahead and select that. Watch all our back episode videos. The audio episodes are getting uploaded at a reasonable pace, slow pace, but a reasonable pace. Don't know what happened. A whole bunch of them just didn't for a long time, and I just never looked. So I don't know. Do I have any more calls to action, or you want to just wrap it up?
What we've got left is we'll talk about where we're gonna be for this week and next week, since we're not gonna be here. Gary?
I am, of course, obviously I'm kind of off for the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
So, so I've got this Saturday and next Saturday that I'm going to be blank, of course. But the week after that, I'll be at Vitola.
Okay.
Obviously. So, that's where I'll be. And probably leftover turkey.
Turkey jerky.
I don't know.
I'm going to be typical Friday night tomorrow. And then my next week has been changed just for next week. I'm going to be at the Trustville store on Monday night.
Interesting.
And then I'm going to do late night on Saturday. Even though the game got moved back to 2:00, the guys want to do late night that night.
This Saturday, is that right?
Next Saturday.
Next Saturday.
Thanksgiving Saturday.
Gotcha.
So that's where I'm going to be. His late night's going to be on Saturday instead of Friday,
Dude,
only for next week.
That'll rock. That's going to rock.
Is that because Alabama and Auburn are like
right.
double digit in the ranking, so they don't deserve a prime time spot?
I guess because
Pretty
apparently
much.
the guys at the shop told me that it was supposed to start at like 5 or 6 or something, and then they told me Tuesday it got moved back to 2:30, and I went, so the game will be over, but they still were going to want to stick around and celebrate. And do all that
One half is going to be numbing the pain. The other half is going to be celebrating.
Right.
So,
yeah. So there you go. Saturday, the 20 something.
I don't know.
26, 27, no, 24, 25. I think 26.
I think so.
I think it's 26.
I think I have something in front of me. Saturday the 26th.
Saturday the 26th. I'll be there from
Thanksgiving
6
24th.
till midnight.
Yeah.
And we'll have a good old time. You will earn massive bonus points with me if you bring in eggnog.
Oh, that's nice.
I could drink my weight in eggnog.
Not spiked, of course. Obviously not.
Absolutely spiked.
Of course.
Bring him the eggnog.
What?
Bring him the spike on the side.
Or bring in the ones that are already made that way by like Jack Daniels and Evan Williams.
Oh my gosh!
Either way.
I bet you those are good. And if you can make your own, try it.
Oh yeah.
He'll try it.
Oh, I will. I'm an eggnog connoisseur. I will set all the cups in front of me.
I hear you
and
there.
I will judge every single
Oh, I
one.
love me
Remind
some
me
eggnog.
after the show. I got a question on that.
All right.
And
And then where are you going to be, John?
I will be at the 280 store on Friday and Saturday this week.
This week?
And for the first time, and as long as I can remember, I will not be here over Thanksgiving weekend.
There you go.
Because I
Good
know
for
I've
you.
always been involved in the sales and that. I'm going to be in North Carolina in the woods.
Nice. Good for you, buddy.
You may get to see some snow.
Unless
Oh,
it snows,
count on it.
then I'm not going to do it. Because where this place is, I don't want to be
You
driving
ain't
those
gonna be able to get
roads
out.
in the snow.
You're done.
I might not be able to get up.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
Need some Viagra tires.
Yay.
But I will say Harris has hinted. Harris told me. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen.
Oh.
But we got nothing from him. So I'm going to potentially plug a potential event. And there should probably be one of the Black Friday sales at 280 Black Friday weekend. Friday through Sunday. Usually is what he runs. I can't get, sometimes there's cigar specials. More often than not, the cigars are regular price.
Right.
But depending on the dollar amount you spent, there's a lot of swag. This is his. I get rid of my swag time. Now it all depends on what swag you got in that. But he told me he was doing something on Black Friday at $280, probably reminiscent of what he did in the past.
Gotcha.
So pay attention to your emails. Pay attention to the stores. Call the stores and ask. I can't promise that there's going to be something, but
I can't imagine there won't be. Yeah. And be careful driving out there. Don't be stupid. It ain't worth it. And that's it. That's all we got for today. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that follow button, everything that associated for every media that's out there. You all know what it is. Remember, you got to hit that bell notification on the YouTube channel for it to notify you. It doesn't automatically do that. And we'll see you guys. You think we'll run a rerun episode, or does that take too much?
Let me look and see if we got one.
We should just rerun this episode.
Okay, and let me see what I could pull out. There's got to be something in that.
Well, the good news is we keep going. We have a Thanksgiving episode next year. We'll run this one again.
This is true.
And then we'll have a good rerun episodes we can push through.
Yeah, Devin looks better last year too. On top of that, so I mean, you got some quality there.
Yeah, because I was still in my 40s last year.
There you are.
Oh
See?
No, of course, now I'm
awesome.
distinguished.
You're something. You're something.
That's what she said.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys
Bio
later. Have a good Thanksgiving holiday.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy turkey.
Bring me turkey.
Yes, please.